I doubt there's anyone that had the perfect childhood. Life is all about emotions, and how you feel is how you're gonna perceive your world. And you think you're never going to recover. The best thing to do is parent yourself. You can kind of rewrite history into being more secure and feeling more loved. Hey guys, welcome to Self-Care Sundays with Sophia, where we talk about self-love, self-growth, and everything in between. Today's video, I wanted to talk about healing your inner child. I know that term can be a little bit like cheesy or like what, there's a child living inside you, but basically it kind of just means the pain that started when you were a child. So everything in our entire life basically is programmed up until ages 0 to 7. So if you have any super traumatic events that happened in your life back then, you're gonna see them as an adult. This has just been proven. For example, if a snake bit you your whole life, you're probably gonna be afraid of snakes unless you work on that fear. But we're so vulnerable at that age that we absorb everything. Obviously, everyone knows that. So I wanna talk about certain ways I've learned to heal my inner child and battle the things that were ingrained in me as a small child. I grew up in a family, there was 5 of us, and my mom did it all by herself. There wasn't a lot of, she couldn't really give each kid enough love and care. My dad was busy working. Parents divorced, it's a whole different story. But basically, since I was younger, I kind of learned to fend for myself. And I think we all struggle with this in a way, because I doubt there's anyone that had the perfect childhood. It's mentally impossible for any parent to give your child 100% love and attention and care. There's always going to be flaws in the system. And yeah, you grow up feeling a little bit neglected, or maybe you feel a little bit abandoned. And for me, growing up, it was very much survival mode, because also I had 3 older brothers. They would obviously tease me. So I kind of built this strong exterior and tried to always fend for myself, almost a little too independent. I think the main thing was love, looking for love, and certain things that happened in my life. It's hard to, as an adult, rewire those things. And I actually learned a tool. I went to this life retreat called Hoffman Institute. This was back in probably 2017. It was a week long, no cell phones, and you just did the work. It was like activities, certain things you could do to work on your inner child, and all the pains and anything you could to let go. And it was really great. And one thing I remember from that is there was a thing called recycling, where basically you think of a traumatic event and you think about the event again and you recycle the experience, but think about it how you would have wanted it to go, or how it would have made you feel more positive. So if you grew up and maybe your parents weren't there for you, you could think about a certain time. Let's say you had a play, they didn't show up, they were supposed to. You could picture that experience again with your parents being there, cheering you on and being proud, and feel good about that. And it seems simple, but it actually is really effective, because life is all about emotions, and how you feel is how you're going to perceive your world, right? Another great way to think about this is when you think back to high school and just like the society of that, the cool kids, dating, your boyfriends, if you have a fight with your friend and all that whole dynamic. When most people have their first somewhat of a heartbreak around high school. And when you think of how extreme that was, and how you really just thought it was your whole world, and you didn't know that high school's only 5 years, you're gonna get over it. Or if something embarrassing happened, you really truly think it's the end of the world, and you think you're never going to recover. So if you think of a little baby, even somebody that's in elementary school, somebody way younger, your world is so much smaller, and you don't realize how time heals everything. You're not going to care about that after a certain while. So healing your inner child is really important, because you can't even imagine how traumatic it would feel to, if you're crying, your mom isn't there to hold you. Something like that in your small little mind as a baby or as an infant is so severe. So most people basically struggle with, not feeling loved or neglected, because it's impossible for 2 parents or somebody to feel loved 24/7. But what I like to do is, anytime I hear my inner critic, or, I'm thinking negative thoughts about myself, I really just picture, I have this exact picture of myself. It's an actual real photo, and you can actually get a photo of yourself too if that helps. And I talked to her, and I think of family videos, how cute and sweet she was and how innocent she was. And knowing that I was going through some pains, it's heartbreaking. So I picture my adult self going back in time and speaking to that child and giving her a hug and giving her the love that she craved. And it's so effective there's so many theories that say time doesn't exist. Everything's kind of happening at the same time. So if you're feeling vulnerable and you need some comfort, the best thing to do is parent yourself and really just give yourself a hug. If you're feeling sad, having good self-talk and mothering yourself and knowing that you can get through this, and time does heal everything as long as you're kind to yourself. Picturing that little girl. If you say to yourself, I'm ugly or I am useless, you're saying that to that adorable, sweet little girl. And it's just not true. And by saying that or thinking it, it's just a thought. It's not real unless you make it real. So if you keep reaffirming these thoughts, it's just going to become real to you. You're going to believe that you're ugly or useless or whatever the negative thing is. So it's very important to stop yourself and picture yourself being like, oh, no, we're not doing that. You're grounded, or not ground yourself, but get grounded. That's a two-meaning word. You need to get grounded, be present in the moment. Maybe, I wonder if that's why they use the term grounded. You're grounded. Like, you gotta get grounded, get down to earth and think of your actions. Anyway, sorry, I'm going off topic. But just being aware of your thoughts and how you're speaking to yourself, and have a conversation with that inner child often, because everything is kind of happening at the same time, and you can heal that child, that version of you, which in turn can make you live a happier life as an adult. Because if you know that that younger version of you is loved and cared for, you can kind of rewrite history into being more secure and feeling more loved. The more I get older, the more I really realize that cheesy quote, love is the answer. It really is. Did you know that a baby can actually die from not being loved, and people can die from a broken heart? So giving yourself as much love and care as possible is the key to a happy life, or to anything. If you want to attract something in your life, or if you want something to go better in your life, giving it love and sending it loving energy is going to help you achieve that or get that thing that you want. Loving yourself is just like planting a seed, and if you start kind of changing your mindset and giving yourself these positive affirmations, you can't beat yourself up if you don't see results right away. It's kind of like planting a seed, for example. Let's say it's a pumpkin. It starts off, or an apple seed. It starts off as a little tiny apple seed, and you put it in the ground. You're going to water it every day, aka feed it affirmations, give it the sunshine, you're going to care for it, and then you're going to see a tiny little sprout come up. And if you were actually planting an apple tree, you wouldn't get pissed off that it's just a tiny little sprout and rip it. You'd continue to nurture it. You'd continue to feed it water and sunshine, aka affirmations, self-care, love, giving yourself love, and then you'd watch it flourish and grow. The only difference is when it's ourself, we can't physically see the growth, but we can feel the growth over time. So you're not gonna do this one day and then stop and be like, oh, I'm not better. It's over. What's the point? You're gonna slowly nurture and water it more and more and more. And that's what you have to do to yourself. And to heal your inner child, you have to speak to her with love and compassion and understand that she's just a little girl learning. Even though we're adults right now, I don't know how old you are watching this, but even though we're adults right now, we're still learning and growing. And that's why, as I've become an adult, I've really 100% been able to forgive my parents for the things that when I was kind of like in my teenage years or maybe early adult years, I would blame everything on my parents and say it's all their fault. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, oh, they were like my age right now when they were raising me. They were doing their best. They didn't know what was their childhood like. How did they get the tools? They're not perfect, right? So really having compassion for yourself and for the others around you, and know that everybody's just doing their best. Even if somebody's doing something negative to you, if it's a loved one, that's coming from a place of how they feel inside. So if they're giving you bad energy or something negative is happening, something's going on with them, and rather than feeling angry at them and giving them back more angry energy, you should have compassion and send them love. I'm not kidding you. If there's anybody that's hurt you or betrayed you, even if it's somebody that's not your friend, you should be doing meditations and exercises, genuinely sending them love and truly wishing them happiness. Revenge is like a boomerang. If you want to get revenge on somebody, you're going to throw it out there. It's going to come right back at you. It's so toxic and poison to even think of that. So if somebody's hurt you in some way, you have to know that they're just a human. They're doing their best. If you were them, you would do the same thing because you would be them. And you would know the pains and the struggles that they have, so you would understand why they're doing what they're doing. We're all just human, and we're all doing our best here. And obviously there's extreme scenarios, like people that, do things that aren't ethical. That's a very sad case, because how does somebody get there where they actually want to inflict pain or do anything like that? It's just not good. But sending love is the answer. If somebody's hurt you, sending them love, wishing them good energy, and just smiling and moving on with your life, because you're on a journey of love and happiness, and it should be tunnel vision. All you see is positivity and the things that you want to come into your life. What you focus on grows. So if you're focusing on something that doesn't make you feel good, you don't want to do that, because it's just going to grow and plant that seed. It's like that that apple seed thing I was saying earlier. If you keep feeding and nurturing these negative thoughts, that's going to grow. So you don't want to do that. You only want to have tunnel vision and focus on love, gratitude, positivity, and healing your inner child. It's all stems from when you were younger. We all have pains. They're all unique. Every human is unique, which is, I just find so fascinating how people turn out the way they turned out. Even though I have four siblings, all of us had a completely different childhood. Like me and my sister, we'll talk about our childhood, and it's completely different, even though we had the same parents, the same household. But that's why we're two completely different people, because we had two different experiences, and it was so much different for her than me, even though we're only 2 years apart. I just find that so fascinating that everybody has their own story, and it's your job to figure out how to get into the roots and dig out the weeds and really nurture and give yourself love to fix that and find out what your purpose is in life, because we're so lucky to be here. The fact that we get to enjoy life, sit on the couch right now, watch a YouTube video, and work on bettering ourselves to live a happier life, that's such a blessing. And I really just want to remind you to always do your gratitude, your affirmations. I was reading a book. I've read this book maybe twice before. It's by, I think it's Louise L. Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And the chapter was on affirmations, and I've been really big on that lately, really like implementing it into my life. I said on one of my last YouTube videos that I have a mirror beside my bed now, and I pick it up and I say my affirmations to myself. She was saying, I think the example was like, I'm worthy or something like, or I'm willing. I forget what the affirmation is. Bottom line, she said that you should be saying this to yourself 300 to 400 times a day. I was like, whoa, okay, that is a lot. And she even says that in the book. It sounds like a lot, but it's not. If you really, really, truly want to get something into your life and you want to manifest something, apparently, according to Louise L. Hay, we've got to be saying it 300 to 400 times a day. So it's brainwashing yourself. You're walking down the street. Okay, I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. I have an affirmation that I've been doing, and I feel like I say it quite often, but clearly not enough, because it's been proven that we create our own reality and we can speak things into existence. So why not go ham, go all the way, and do it to get the results faster? So what we need to be doing here is really taking this stuff seriously, because the mind is a powerful thing. You think of all the other people in life, like certain celebrities or people that have accomplished crazy amounts of things. If they can get there, so can we. So if you really have a passion or something that you really want to do, you can get there. And it starts with your mind, and that's something everybody has access to. I don't care if you don't have a lot of money or you have certain situations happening in your life that may be holding you back. Everybody has access to their mind 24 hours a day. So if you're let's say you're at a job that you hate, constantly repeating in yourself these affirmations and really ingraining it into your mind and watching it come into fruition. But also not waiting for it, just getting in the habit of saying these things over and over and over and over again, 300 to 400 times, according to Louise L. Hay. So let's all get on that together. I thought I was on a roll by doing it morning and night and maybe a few times at the gym when I was thinking about the affirmations, but obviously I got to step on it and get on it way more. I'm really determined to live my best life possible. I feel I've done a lot of inner child's work, but I always know that there's always more. There's always things that come up, and I think the more you dive into this type of work, the more things will come up for you, because I think your brain knows that you're ready to deal with them, if that makes sense. The more I was in therapy a lot a few years ago, and other things were coming up where I'm like, oh, because once I kind of conquered this trauma in my life, it opened up another door of, oh, maybe that's why I do this, or maybe that's why I feel this certain way. So I've been a big advocate for therapy all my life. I know not everybody has access to that, but whatever you can do to work on yourself and get to know yourself and get in the habit of being honest with yourself and recognizing patterns. If there's something that you do and it keeps happening over and over again, let's get to the root to that. Let's figure out, where did that start? Why do I get triggered by this? And when did this, why am I doing this? Obviously, doing journaling and writing down all the stuff that triggers you, that's a great way to figure out what you need to work on and kind of figure out why you get triggered by those things. Because let's get to the root of it and get rid of it. You're able to conquer anything really if you put in the work and if you be honest with yourself about your feelings and where this came from. It all stemmed from when you were a child. You were programmed, and there's ways to deprogram that. Hypnosis is another thing, which I haven't really explored too much, to be honest, but I just figure meditation and stuff. Bottom line though is repeating. That's why in elementary school they would make you write lines over and over again, because it's been proven that if you repeat something, it'll become a habit, and this will be your new way of thinking. So if your goal is to feel loved, for example, and heal that inner child, repeat to yourself every day, I am loved, I am loved. And with time, you're going to be more focused on the people that do love you, and you will realize, oh, I actually am loved. I've been in a place in my life where I feel like the world hates me, everyone's out to get me, I'm just an inconvenience to everybody, I'd be doing everybody a favor if I wasn't here anymore, and that was just my perception. So now I'm in a place where all I can see around me is people that love me and accept me, and they're cheering for me, because I've decided for myself that I deserve to be loved, I deserve the best, and I am my own best friend. I'm my mother, my teacher, my cheerleader. You really have to have the full package to take care of yourself, because our parents, they did their best, but you are the one who's going to determine how your life goes, and it all starts with how you feel. Feelings are the code of life, basically. That's going to tell you what you need to work on, and that's how you attract things. By being in a high vibration, you are arriving at that place before it even comes to you. So thinking about things that make you feel good and envisioning the life that you want, because it's just around the corner. As long as you keep thinking about it and keep feeling good, taking care of yourself, you'll get there. And it's an amazing feeling. Gratitude and just having daily conversations with your inner child. Picturing her crying and comforting her, giving her a hug, doing the things that you need to do to let her know that she's loved and she's valued and she's strong and beautiful and can do anything she wants and she's supported. All we really need in life is to know that somebody has our back or somebody supports you and believes in you. That's why a lot of people turn to religion or even the new age, the universe has your back and all that stuff. But just having a conversation with yourself, even if you're not religious, knowing that you have your own back and picturing yourself being in an environment, literally giving your child self a hug and imagine how the child feels when you're hugging them, feeling a sigh of relief and more relaxed, and she can know that it's safe to be okay. When we're a child, all we know is love. That's why babies are so so uplifting to be around because they're just pure love, completely innocent, not broken down by the hate that exists in the world. And as we get older, we kind of forget that feeling. So that's why when you get older, it's nice to be around children because they're just filled with so much love and abundance. And also kids, they have the biggest imagination. They believe they can do anything. And that's actually a really great place to be. Obviously, we get older, we're aware of the realities of certain things and bills and that life is harder than it seems, but they've got the right idea going. The belief in yourself and the confidence and the fearlessness that kids have, I think we need to tap into that more as adults. And we can take a lesson or two from children because they are the definition of love. And that mentality of I can conquer the world is where we need to remember. We need to get back to that place so we can live our own best lives. Anyway, I think that wraps up today's video. I hope you loved watching. You can find me on all my social medias at Sophia Pearson. We'll see you next week on Self-Care Sundays with Sophia. Bye.